Can one family make a difference? 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 This is Cindy
and Michael
from Part-Time Permies, and we're doing this as a part of collaboration and thanks to Justin Rhodes and his family, and kind of going through, how they've impacted what we do. We did host them here this summer when they came to Michigan as their one Michigan stop on the Great American Farm Tour, but we've been following them for a long time before that.
Before they were on YouTube, yeah. I was following the website somewhat randomly, and and then Cindy independently found, I think, the website or the very beginning of YouTube instructional videos. So yeah.
We've been following them for a while, since before we moved into this house. That was the point when you decided you wanted chickens when we were looking for a house, I think. Big property. We started looking outside of the city of Kalamazoo instead of in Kalamazoo itself, and decided, in addition to the gardens, which we had been doing before, we wanted more space and wanted to be able to raise chickens to help with the gardens, as well as to provide meat and eggs for us. I wanted ducks originally. I wanted a pond with ducks, but we ended up finding a house that came with chickens, and we actually designed a lot of what we do based off of what the Rhodes family did at their house even before the farm tour.
Yeah, I think most of what we do for the chickens is pretty heavily related to things we learned from their videos.
We had been gardening prior to moving here. We've gardened in New York in our previous house. We also gardened on a patio of our apartment in New York before we had a house. So we were definitely interested in growing our own food, and we were looking for ideas and inspiration for better ways to do that. Started looking into permaculture. Is that where you found?
Yeah, well,
Justin's
we were already involved. So my interest I've always wanted to grow gardens, and even as a young kid a little bit. Didn't really have a family that gardened a lot, or really at all, but I always had an interest. So growing vegetables and then being a professional chef, we know that great food starts with great farms and properly handling both meat and vegetables. Yeah, we had herbs and things on our 8th, 9th floor concrete balcony, and did that just to have some stuff growing because we didn't have a source to do that. And then when we got to a house with a very small backyard, started figuring out how we wanted to grow, and we started doing bio-intensive, French-intensive, and the beginnings of biodynamic. I started doing some reading, and were very influenced by some farmers and chefs and people that someone introduced us to that. And then getting here, it was really to start to expand that, where I came across permaculture as an idea, and that was really through a lot of the Paul Wheaton material, that permaculture and how it brought together all the things we were trying to do in small ways.
Yeah.
And then Justin was a connection through some of the Paul Wheaton material, and I think advertisements when he was starting that. And that all kind of sunk in and just kind of at the right time connected a lot of the links that we were already establishing. So.
Yeah. And then he started the farm tour, which, I haven't watched I don't watch every single one of Justin Rhodes' videos. However, there were definite farms that he stopped at that we're able to share with them that have just kind of inspired us to do more with permaculture. The permaculture orchard, I think, was the first one that really kind of hit home.
That's probably the biggest one.
Yeah.
For us.
As far as what we want to do with our property, because we have 3 acres behind us here of woods knowing what grows there already, plus developing a food forest in front of our house. We already have locust trees to do the nitrogen fixing for us, so we just have to develop that a little further. So seeing that idea of having a permaculture orchard and being able to build on that idea here, a little more wild food forest, but has been one of our inspirations as well.
Yeah, I think the using permaculture and food forest was just like the chickens and just like the other steps. We were already trying to do it. It was just the next link. And when we read and understood a little bit about it and got when we were introduced to it in that form, it clicked, and that was obviously what we already wanted to do. We just didn't know it or know how to do it. Yeah. So that's sort of our next step. We happen to have a lot of permaculture resources in our geographic area. There are a lot of growers of specialty plants because we're in a fairly cold zone, so there's a lot of people focusing on extension of seasons and cold hardy plants, and we're in a heavy agricultural area already of traditional and large scale agriculture, but a lot of fruit. So those resources are there, and we're finding some very specific permaculture resources of people that are well on their way, and some of them are 10 and 15 years out on permaculture, food forests. So we're picking up the pieces of what we want to do, and we're running after other sources and realize we don't have to go too far to figure out what we do next. Actually,
part of those connections, even the local connections, were because they came to visit us. 2
or 3 good connections, yes.
At least, yeah, for the local permaculture groups. They were at the meetup, and we got to meet them there and have been able to develop more relationships with them. We'll be able to do some videos potentially with 1 or 2, and also meeting up with other, homesteading YouTube channels that were here, like that 1870s homestead, and there's a variety of them that were here that day. When the roads came, we had like 80 people here, so just being able to see who else is around here doing similar things was nice as well.
There's been a good number of 5, 6, 7 families that some point through the year we've either connected on online or at the Homesteaders Conference. We met some of the people that
the Homesteaders of America
that
conference.
We realized that people had come out here and we had met for the first time. So I think some of those
the Michigan Hootenanny.
Yeah.
So it's bringing people together in each state that have this concept in common of trying to grow your own food. We each do it a little differently. We each have different goals a little bit on how we do that on property, but to be able to exchange those ideas with people and do that networking, I think the roads has really kind of triggered a lot of networking within each state locally because of the farm tour, which was amazing. In fact, we're actually sitting in the same exact spot where we were able to interview Justin Rhodes about just how to get started.
What then you have to do is say, what is the most important thing I can do with just that 10 hours I have?
On homesteading and growing your own food and what to do. And just to get those ideas of, just go for it was really what it comes down to. Just plant it is his thing right now. As far as his slogan is just plant it. But, before he came up with that slogan, we were interviewing him and just kind of going through all of that. And it was really just try things out, learn from anything that doesn't work or doesn't work on your property, and adjust and go again.
Yeah, I think his main thing was just go do something and stop thinking about it and stop delaying and trying to figure out how to do it best, and just go do something. And then once you've done that, you can more easily adjust. Go do something and then go figure it out. And if it isn't the way people tell you to do it, or if it isn't in the right patterns, maybe you're going to figure out something, or you're going to connect in with other people that aren't doing it the same way as everyone else, and it may work. And if not, you'll figure out how to pull back and reset it for the next time around.
Yeah, you learn what works and what doesn't. I mean, we just set up a hoop and had it going all winter in Michigan, and we still have spinach that's ready to harvest right now. We harvested mustard greens in January, beginning of January, I think that was. And we have pak choi that's growing and just about ready to harvest as well, getting close. Didn't work. The romaine, it didn't die, but it's definitely not doing extremely well. And
But it's still got roots, so it'll be back. Give it a couple weeks.
It still has
it's going to
roots.
bounce back early, which means we get an early harvest.
Absolutely.
And this is our maybe 4th year of sort of lightly running 1 or 2 hoops. Some of it's residuals that didn't mature fast enough in the fall, or we wanted to hold longer. Some of it was new starts. Some of it's actually forage and edible weeds that just happen to be in there, and we
happen to grow themselves.
We could pick some today. Some of it goes. Now we can feed some of that stuff that we don't want to eat because it's damaged or not real tasty, and weed-wise, and it goes to the poultry.
Goes to the chickens. Well, the geese especially.
The geese
they need
and the
greens.
chickens eat them. Our goal is sort of approach 50% product from our own property. We're not there yet, but we are buying so much local product and cycling purchases and our income into really small operations, and it's not so much by mission as it's what's convenient and works.
And it's good.
And I don't think our grocery budget has increased dramatically.
Well, part of it is you save money growing it yourself.
Yeah.
And part of it is the money you save, you can start putting into local businesses, local farms, and getting really fresh produce. So, yeah, I mean, Justin Rhodes, we were already doing things, but definitely had a big impact on us being able to develop our property here, especially, and incorporate more into this and help us make those local connections and a whole variety of things. And just getting the advice and encouragement that, we're headed the right direction on things is nice. They are an amazing family. Very down-to-earth people, and very interested in helping out, which you could see through all of his videos. But he's, obviously he's shown his mistakes and his things that have worked and his systems that have worked, and so that everybody else can learn from them. Sometimes we made some mistakes along with him. I mean, that lightweight greenhouse that likes to blow away probably wasn't the best idea, but
yeah, we all thought we were saving a buck, and we got, it was like, hey, we're going to start out with we had a couple lightweight greenhouses, which seemed like a really inexpensive way to maximize our space. And it was funny because Rebecca was walking through our property, and she goes, "You got one of those too?" And we said, "Yeah." And she goes, "I'm so sorry." And we said, "No big deal. It's fine." It was super inexpensive, which is why we bought it. It came on their suggestion, which was absolutely fine, and we all thought we had come across a great thing. Well, we got a little windswept through here, as did everybody else, and it broke to pieces. But you know what? It really wasn't a big deal. If we had spent $1,000 on a greenhouse and we realized we didn't use it, that would have been a big deal.
Yeah.
So.
And we will be able to reuse parts of it. Hopefully, we'll be able to reuse that plastic sheeting for our greenhouses that we plan on building this year.
Well, we've also thought more about how we're going to use greenhouses and hoop houses and where we're going to put them. Some alternative low-cost methods. So it actually was, like you said, it's just a step. We tried something, and it's led on to some next steps of how we're going, because we have light issues and winter issues with trying to be able to maintain our seed start. So we think we have some solutions coming up, and so that was part of the steps of figuring out how we were going to do it. We also know that you don't want your greenhouses and herb gardens too far out because they're too hard to access when the weather's bad. And so part of having temporary and portable greenhouses to get light, they probably would have been so far out we may not have been that excited to walk that far out into the yard some days. So I think it fit into the plan and really wasn't a setback. It just didn't work.
It was try, learn, and adjust. I mean, it's really kind of what we ended up doing with that interview with him. You try things out, you learn from mistakes, you learn what works, and you make adjustments to help make things work better. And if the next round doesn't work, you learn and adjust again. So it's really just to go out there and do it. Big thanks to Justin Rhodes and the Rhodes family for doing the farm tour, as well as everything he did leading up to it at home, and just helping show different systems that he's come up with and letting us learn along with him is really a big part of it. So I do want to say thanks, and thanks for choosing our location for, coming to stop in Michigan. That was amazing, to have him come and want to learn for some of the stuff that we were doing as well, and to get to know them and have everybody do a big gathering here. To be able to do that every few days, that's crazy, but they did it, and they got through all 50 states doing it. So thank you, Justin and family.
Yep, thank you, Justin. And it's definitely inspiration, and that there are many ideas and there's many ways out there, old and new.
So thank you for watching. Thank you, the Rhodes family, for just doing everything you do and all those ideas you've had, and you've tried it and persevered with it. So I hope you continue to be an inspiration for so many families, so many homesteaders, so many people who just want to grow a little bit. And we hope you enjoyed our show, and we'll see you with the next video.